Defendant, candidate, and former president. The line between all of those different realities for Donald Trump was already pretty blurry, but at times it appeared to completely evaporate inside that New York courtroom today. While the judge declared that this is not a political rally, Trump did cite the latest poll numbers to the cameras that were stationed outside as he walked in and out of the court and as his campaign was firing off fundraising email after fundraising email. Here with me tonight is Alyssa Farah Griffin, who was Donald Trump's White House communications director. I mean, we've seen Trump under oath before in some of his taped depositions. He's typically more muted and has a bit more restraint. But it seemed very clear the minute that he walked into that courtroom today, he wasn't trying to appeal to the judge here. He was really trying to appeal to a larger political audience.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the word I would use is defiant. And I think that was by design to the degree that there's ever a strategy in anything Trump does. I think he's kind of realized in this civil case, it's more or less a foregone conclusion. There's already been the summary judgment. There's not really a case for him to win. It's how do I win in the court of public opinion? And you know this, I know this well. When he has rapt media attention on him, he just wants to dominate that attention that he has. He wants to look strong above anything else. The facts at times be damned. So I think that to the degree that there was a strategy, it was look tough, look defiant, use the old playbook of this is rigged, this is a witch hunt, and try to command as much media attention as he can. Because again, this is a day he's not on the campaign trail. One of his chief opponents, Governor DeSantis, is being endorsed by Kim Reynolds in Iowa, but he did have the media's attention and American eyeballs on him.
And his campaign, obviously, you know, they fundraise off of this. They were sending out emails against the attorney general the moment he walked into court. But then I noticed at points later, they were taking quotes where we were watching these exchanges in real time and kind of quoting the judge out of context, like the one where he said, I don't want to hear what Donald Trump has to say. He was saying about the tangents that Trump was going on, but they were quoting that and blasting it out to millions of people.
Well, and that's exactly why it's important to have reporters there in the courtroom to actually relay those facts, because if it was purely communicated through Donald Trump and his attorneys, we wouldn't have the facts. And we also saw Alina Habba, his attorney, give a kind of bizarre speech outside of the courtroom where she was talking about basic procedures that you would have in a courtroom, and seemed like this was an offense against her and the Donald Trump team. They're going to do this. This is classic Donald Trump playbook. It's us versus them. I'm being indicted for you is what he tries to convey to the American public. And the reality is it might be working. We saw these latest New York Times, CNN numbers. He's beating Joe Biden in 4 of the 5 battleground states and outperforming significantly where he was at this time in 2020. So I think he's relying on there's going to be courtroom and legal battle fatigue of the American public. And so long as he looks on top of it, looks angry, and looks like he's fighting for something, that might work.
I mean, what if the other 2024 candidates, who are preparing to be on the debate stage this week where he is not going to be, how do you think they view something like what happened today?
It's the myth that these candidates, many of whom are my friends, are still kind of buying into, which is like he's suddenly going to be out of the running and their moment's going to happen. Like he is careening to the nomination. We are 2 months out from Iowa, and I don't see something fundamentally changing unless something were to take him out of the race, which nothing's going to. No court date is going to. Nothing is going to make him drop 40 points in the polls. And can I say one thing, Caitlin? What I couldn't help but think, obviously today he had to be there. This is a civil trial, and he was on the stand. He hasn't had to be in the courtroom on these other dates. He's chosen to show up.
Yeah.
He cared more about showing up because his business interests were being challenged than when he was actually being accused of sexual assault. Name a person that you know who wouldn't be there to defend themselves, hook, line, and sinker against an allegation of sexual assault. He didn't even show up in the E. Jean Carroll case. That tells you all you need to know about Donald Trump.
And given you worked for him, I mean, what did you make of him talking about his brand value, saying that that's something that should be part of the financial statements, which I think most bankers would say is not what you can put on a loan application?
He puts a lot of stock in the brand value, and I would argue that in many ways I think the brand value has diminished in recent years and since his presidency, or at least in the mainstream probably. But that is what it is. The business is a brand. The presidency for him is a brand. It's not about the American public. It is about Donald Trump.
Alyssa Farah Griffin, thank you very much.